Welcome back to another episode of Real NoVA Network. Guys, this is our 7th episode, and already this week we got some pretty wild stuff going on. We're talking about my friend Santana Moss finally getting the recognition he deserves, and this crazy thing that I didn't realize that we have so many mansions here in the DC area compared to the rest of the United States. And like always, I'm going to talk about the latest housing numbers and what they mean for you, whether you're buying or selling a home. So let's dig right in. All right, so this past Saturday, I got to attend an event for my friend Santana Moss, and on Sunday during the Commanders and Giants game, he was inducted into the Commanders Ring of Fame. So he got his number and name and the years that he was with the Commanders up on the stadium, and obviously I hope it'll move over to the new stadium, which should open in a couple years, which I'm really excited about for him. He is a really great guy, first-class friend of mine. He's been on a couple podcasts with me here. He's come to multiple of our client parties and signed autographs. Listen to this. The guy played 10 of his 14 seasons here in Washington, D.C. after he got traded from the Jets in 2005. He's third in Commanders franchise history with 581 catches, fourth in receiving yards, and seventh in touchdowns. And he really did become a moment in this town. I don't know if you remember that game where at the end of the game, he caught 2 touchdowns to beat the Cowboys. So his nickname is the Cowboys Killer. They actually had a drink there named after him on Saturday called the Cowboys Killer. And speaking of that, did you guys hear any of these things about these new mansions stats going around about our area? You guys are not going to believe this. It's something that I'd recently posted on to my Instagram at Chris Colgan team. We're going to talk about that next. Another big thing for the Commanders as the season gets open. I know I don't talk a lot about sports. I'm not a huge sports guy, but the Commanders growing up, they were called the Redskins, were obviously huge around here. And when they do good, things get a lot better around here. This really is a football team. And then they also re-signed Terry McLaurin, which was something that was kind of like a battle. And I got to meet some of the people that run the team, some former players like Andre Johnson, Josh Morgan, Dale Green was at the event as well, and talked to them a little bit about the real estate market. It was funny, a lot of them like our Instagram, but wanted to give a little shout out to my friend Santana Moss. Now, before I jump into the next story, if you want an inside scoop on everything Northern Virginia real estate, you've got to hit a subscribe button right there on your channels. Look, I'm not just talking about sports stories and fun extras. Whether you're trying to buy your first home or your 10th home or you're retiring here in Northern Virginia, I give you the numbers that will help you make a smart move here in our market. So definitely email me info@colganteam.com as well. All right, so I keep hearing about this level 99 thing opening at Tyson's Corner. It actually did just open, and guys, I finally got to check it out, and it is insane. They took over 40,000 square feet where a Barnes & Noble and Old Navy used to be on the second floor, and turned it what is called the DMV's first real-life video game experience. Here's the deal. You can walk into an axe run, whether you've got split-second decisions that could make or break your team. Then you head over to the Mansion Banquet, which is a puzzle so tricky your group's going to be arguing for every move, and you better get it right when you go in there. And then you also have wavelength chord test if you really trust your teammates. Space Nebula feels like you're inside a sci-fi movie, and Flux Zero is where the tech responds to every single move you make. Now, each challenge runs 1 to 4 minutes, so your adrenaline never drops, and you immediately want to try the next one. With 2 to 6 players per challenge, it's designed for total social chaos, but the fun kind. And so here is how the pricing works. The 2-hour session is $29.99, 4 hours is $39.99, and if you want to go all day, it's just $50. They're open Monday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m., Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 a.m., Saturday, 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., and Sunday, 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. Plus, they have Victory Brewing Restaurant that runs inside with a bar and a pizzeria with a Detroit-style pizza with crispy edges, garlic, Parmesan wings, nachos, burgers, Korean barbecue chicken, craft beer, cocktails, mocktails, pretty much anything and everything you could want. I think this is something that we really needed here in Tyson's Corner. We need more adult activities to do where you don't have to go into Washington, D.C. all the time. And the founder picked this spot because of the energy and how easy Tyson's is to get to the metro and all the parking, and it's surrounded by people who work hard, that want to play hard later. And speaking of Tyson, just wait till I show you which Northern Virginia county is totally crushing the housing market. We're going to get there soon, but now stuff like this does raise property values in the area. When something like unique like this opens, it pulls pulls in foot traffic, helps restaurants, and makes the whole neighborhood more attractive. Plus, this is aimed to adults from 21 to 40 years old who are tired of the same old Netflix and dinner date. That is the group that is currently driving our housing market right now, and giving them the reasons to stay in Northern Virginia instead of just leaving to cheaper spots is a win for everyone. Like, you're not going to find this in a Winchester, Fredericksburg, or Culpeper, right? And if entertainment districts are already boosting property values, let me show you how Northern Virginia schools just pulled off on the national stage. All right, so U.S. News and World Report just dropped their 2025 and 2026 rankings of the best high schools in America, and Northern Virginia actually crushed it. Thomas Jefferson High School for Science and Technology in Alexandria came in at number 5 for the entire country out of more than 24,000 public high schools across 50 states. And then TJ landed, like I said, in the top 5. But here's the wild part: 8 of the top 10 Virginia high schools are right here in Northern Virginia. Check this out. Thomas Jefferson Alexandria is number 1 in Virginia. Langley High School in McLean is number 3. Woodson High School in Fairfax is number 5. Oakton High School in Vienna is number 6. And then Meridian High School in Falls Church is number 7. McLean High School is number 8. Marshall High School in Falls Church is number 9. And Madison High School in Vienna is number 10. Now, I know these school rankings are impressive, but Northern Virginia's mansion inventory will change how you see luxury real estate, and that's coming up next. Now, they rank the schools based on state test scores, graduation rates, and how well they get students ready for college. Thomas Jefferson in particular got credit for its STEM curriculum that ends with big senior lab projects, plus 15 specialized research labs and everything from astronomy to oceanography. This is exactly why people pay more to live in certain school districts. You're not just buying a house, you're buying access to some of the top rated schools in the country. Thomas Jefferson ranks number 5 in the nation. Every home in that district's value just went up. Same goes for all those others that are in the top 10. That's why a townhouse in McLean or Vienna can cost $200,000 more than a similar one in other parts of Virginia. You're paying for schools that compete with the best of America, and then that investment pays off when your kids are applying to colleges as well. The fact that so many top schools are packed into one region is pretty amazing, and it's one of the biggest selling points I use when families move here and they talk to me about it from other states. I talk about how great the schools really are here in Northern Virginia, and a lot of these schools were really built in the last 10 or 15 years. But if you think school ratings are impressive, you have to see where Northern Virginia ranks for $1 million home. So I was looking at some new data Zillow put up on the luxury housing market across the country, and what I found is honestly mind-blowing. The Washington, D.C. metro area ranks 2nd in the entire nation for homes with more than 5,000 square feet, which Zillow calls mansions. We've got about 65,000 of these. Only New York City has more at about 81,000. But here's the crazy part. On a per person basis, we actually have a way higher concentration of big homes in New York. Line that up with other major metro areas, and numbers are just wild. Los Angeles is the 2nd most populated metro area in the United States, and it only has about 41,000 mansions. Chicago has 32,600. Dallas has 36,000. Houston, 34,000. Atlanta, which has about the same population as DC, comes in 3rd nationally with 61,300. Now, here's what really shocked me: the cost difference in our region. These mansion-sized homes sell for about $1.58 million on average. That sounds like a lot, but compared to California, it's almost a bargain. And San Diego, a home with over 5,000 square feet, costs around $4.5 million. In LA, it's $4.7 million. San Francisco, $4.9 million. In San Jose, what is going on over there? $6.5 million. Meanwhile, there are 4 big metro areas where the median mansion costs less than $1 million, and that would be Buffalo, Indianapolis, Cleveland, and Memphis, Tennessee. And if you're looking for luxury properties in Fairfax County, I found more than 400 with 5,000 square feet or more on the market just last week. The lowest price one was about 5,100 square feet in Centerville and listed for $1.1 million. On the other side of the spectrum, there's a 16,000 square feet estate on 16.5 acres in Fort Hunt right now on the Potomac River, listed just a mere penniless $60 million. So yeah, there's a huge range of options here in the DC area. What this shows me is Northern Virginia is becoming a top spot for high earners who want luxury space without paying those California prices. Government contractors, tech executives, defense industry pros, they're all fueling the demand for these big homes. And here's another key number: about 16% of our 5 1,000 square foot homes are listed under 1 million, which gives buyers a way into the luxury market that you won't find in places like San Jose or Silicon Valley. Now all these mansion types are cool, but what really matters what's happening here in Northern Virginia is contracts, inventory, and days on market across the rest of Northern Virginia. So let's talk about that. Okay, so let's start with the good news. These regions beat the nation in year-over-year price growth. Our median sales price hit $681,900, which is up 2.3% from last year. Nationally, prices are only up 1.7%. But here's where it can get a little interesting when you look at each area. Contract activity in Washington, D.C. was up 2.4% in July compared to last year, and it was higher in 3 out of 6 price categories. Through the first 7 months of the year, DC is down 0.8%, which is basically a flat market. Montgomery County, Maryland was down only 0.5% in July, and for the year, they're down 1.5%. Days on the market went from 22 last July to 37 this July. That's still quick, but buyers actually have a little bit of time to think now. But here's where things get tough. PG County got hit hard. Contract activity was down 17% in July and 11% for the year. Days on market jumped from 31 to 46 days. That's a huge change. And let's talk about Northern Virginia, where most of my business happens. We're up 3% in July and 0.3% for the year. Days on market went from 24 to 33, which honestly is a healthy adjustment. We've gone from a crazy competitive market to something that's a lot more balanced. Loudoun County is the big winner, up 5.2% in July and up 6.1% for the year. Days on market rose from 21 to 38, but demand is still super strong out there. All of this shows we've moved from a seller's market to a more balanced market. There's a number called the urgency index that measures how many homes go under contract within 30 days, and it's dropping everywhere. For buyers, this is your moment. You've got homes to pick from. I'm seeing a lot more buyers get home inspections, radons, roof repairs, pretty much anything and everything you want. For sellers, you've definitely got to price right from the start. Make sure your marketing is strong. The days of just tossing out any number and getting whatever you want is certainly gone. But you know, we are still getting a lot of sellers top prices. You've probably heard me say on some of my videos before, what I am seeing right now is people want houses priced right and definitely showing fantastic. And that's something that I can meet with you and talk all about. So what's happening in Loudoun isn't actually the same what's happening in Prince George's. That's why having an agent who really knows micro markets really matters more than ever. All right, guys, so that's a wrap for another eventful week in Northern Virginia. So what do you think? Excited that Santana Moss is finally getting his due, ready to try out level 99 gaming spot in Tyson. Surprised that we got the second most amount of mansions that go way lower than California prices. Drop a comment, tell me which story grabbed you this week. And if you are thinking about buying or selling a home, hit me up anytime, info@colganteam.com, and subscribe to this new channel.